Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Zoom at 8. My name is Julianne Peterson, and I am your host every Tuesday night. We've been doing this for 7 years. I bet you guys could say that my whole speech without even looking at the paper, that what I say. So you guys have been here for a long time. We are owners and operators here in the room. We are also debt providers. So I'm here to help not only provide your debt, but also to make connections. That is what Old Capital does, but also at Zoom at 8, how we're a little bit different. You know, I developed this to bring industry experts into the room so that you can find ways to increase your NOI. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight with Foxen. Aaron Power is here, and we're going to be excited to hear from him. But if you're working on a deal, which many of you are, I'd love the opportunity to provide the debt. And we're going to look at bank. We may look at bridge. We'll look at agency if we can do it. We've got CMBS. We've got Lifeco. We've got hard money. We've got a lot of options. You know, instead of going direct to a bank where it's like one and done, I can open up my trench coat and I've got lots and lots of banks that I can provide to you. So we'll look for your T12, your rent roll, the offering memorandum, and your underwriting. Now, I want to see this after you call your property manager, after you contact your insurance broker, and your taxes. That's how this works. Once you have that, send it off. Tell me about the deal, how long you want to hold it, how old is it, how many units, and then we will underwrite it for you as if an appraiser is looking at it, how the lender's going to look at it and provide you a soft quote based on those financials. And, you know, let's face it, using up to date financials is going to make a world of difference. We call it garbage in, garbage out. You give me garbage in, I give you garbage out. So make sure that those financials are up to date. Right now, we're working on March. So, couple things want to make sure you all know about the Old Capital Conference coming up. We've got the Old Capital Conference coming up in Dallas, September 23rd and 24th. So I hope all of you will make it. This is a great place to meet operators, vendors, lenders, sponsors. You got it. All of them are going to be there. You might even meet somebody famous. Don't know, but I'll be there. So I'm kind of famous. But we have Aaron Power in the house tonight. He is an account executive with experience in inside sales, project management, and supply chain management. When it comes to growth and account maintenance, he puts a large emphasis on having fun, relational, consultative style approach. He loves people and how he can connect. He works for Foxen. Now, Foxen, we haven't heard of Foxen here at Zoom at 8, and so I'm excited about that. He helps owners and operators improve NOI. This is what everybody's trying to do. And he does it through a variety of practical, pay it forward solutions that are resident ready financial solutions. So I'm excited. Aaron says that all we have to do when we all have to go to work, we just have to, why not have fun with everybody? So I'm excited that Aaron's here to have a little bit of fun and to educate us on Foxen. So, Aaron, welcome to Zoom at 8. How are you tonight?
Like I said earlier, I'm happy to be here. It's always great to, network and meet new cool people. It's all about the people. So I'm based up actually north of Dallas. So for those of you coming in town, if you've ever heard of a little town called Denton, it's a little college town north of
Ah.
Dallas. That's my hood. So famous for nothing. So
Well, I just sent over a 28 unit building that is up for sale 3.9 over there. I mean, you can still get some deals over there. Now, you might drive
you
and
might drive.
drive,
Yep. It's
What?
I see Angel saying her sister graduated from UNT. So I came up here to UNT and I just never left. I got lazy. I planned on moving as soon as I was done with school and I met my wife and she liked it here and I didn't have a strong opinion. And so I was like, whatever, we'll just live here. And it's been, let's see, that was 2003. It's been a minute.
Ah, there you go. There you go. Well, so I'm interested
Yeah.
to understand what is Foxen and what does Foxen do for owners and operators to improve their NOI? Because in today's environment, as we've been talking about, it's been crazy busy or it's been crazy slow, depending on where you're at. If you're underwriting deals, you're underwriting a lot, you're very busy. If you're trying to close deals, it's tough because there's not a lot of money in on the sidelines looking to place it. They've lost money. So
Mm.
it's critical to have an eye for how to improve NOI. And I want to know more about how you can do that for our investors.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that is what most people wake up in the morning, their head pops off the pillow and they think, what is Foxen? That's
They
usually
do.
that's most people's first questions in life. And so I'm glad that I can be here and share that with you guys. And tomorrow you'll wake up and have a whole different set of questions. No, so a little history before I dive into of how we help, because I think that is really the main thing, and that's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I work at Foxen, is because we are legitimately a very helpful partner. Some people will say vendor. I think what we do is more of a partnership, but we'll get into that. So, Foxen, we were born out of property management ourselves. So, unlike a lot of solutions when you meet folks out there, really nice people, but it's just some nerd that can code and somebody who's really good at sales. And they have the greatest solution that's going to change your life, and it's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. We've all heard the pitch. I've probably given that pitch in the past, and so guilty. However, when you have somebody who's walked a mile in your shoes, when you have somebody who's owned, 100, 10,000 units at this point, who can say, yeah, we know what you're going through. We know the problems you're going to have, not just at the C suite, not just at the asset management level, but actually down in the weeds as your maintenance guys, your community managers, your regionals, whatever it is, are doing their daily tasks. How can we come alongside you guys and help? So Foxen got its start from our ownership group, Coastal Ridge Real Estate, based out of Columbus, Ohio. So that's a little bit about where Foxen comes from. So we really are a compliance solution, or a compliance platform, if you will. We started off back in the olden days with an insurance compliance solution. So probably somebody could raise their hand in here and tell a horror story of a time that somebody left a pizza box on an oven or a candle in the apartment, started a fire, and the amount of nightmare fuel that came with that. Okay. And so what happened back in the day for us is when we created Foxen is we went to collect the insurance from the resident who was supposed to, who had said, hey, here's my shiny insurance. Let me live here. And we said, good job. You can live here. Here's the keys. And then they burned the place down. We go, okay, we need that insurance. Like, I canceled it to save a few bucks after I moved in. Busted. All right. So shame on you, but shame on us if we let that keep going. And so Foxen was naturally, created. What is the old saying? Necessity is the mother of invention, or invention is the one of those two. It's been a long day. I'm with you, Ray. Maybe too many margaritas before this. No, I'm just kidding. And so that's really where it all birthed from, was how can we help these on-site teams who do not want to be insurance agents? They don't want to talk about it. Like, this is not what they hired on to be. They want to fill vacancies, right? They want to get delinquency numbers down for payments. So we come alongside and partner with them and go, hey, would you like to do less work with a revenue share, and we'll guarantee you 100% compliance? And most people go, what's the catch? You go, you just have to say yes. That's the catch. And so for me, it was a no brainer. Coming from the software side, I thought, oh my gosh, a solution that is resident funded, Okay, so it is a pass-through cost. The resident's going to pay. We'll put a chart. We'll create a GL code, so the resident is going to pay their rent. This fee goes with that rent, and at the end of the month, we keep a portion of it. We rev share a portion per unit per month back to you guys. And so, yeah, I call it reverse trick or treating. You know, when I call people, I'm like, knock, knock, knock. They answer the door. I go, here is a king size Snickers bar, and they're like, what? I go, yeah, yeah. How many people are calling you to give you money on something you're probably already doing? And so that's where we got started with our insurance compliance. It's a lot of fun. It's super practical. It's super helpful. So, I mean, like Julianne was saying, I want to have fun. I want to help people. It's all about relationships. So, of course, at a cocktail party when someone's like, what do you do? And they're like, I'm an astronaut. And the other guy's like, what do you do? I build bridges. Like, what do you do? I'm like, I will put you to sleep if I tell you what you do. Unless you're in multifamily, then you will love me. So,
So
uh,
let's talk about insurance. You do you put this across the whole property? Do you
so
then allow people to say, no, 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 I like my guy. I want to use him. I don't need you. And how do you follow up with them year after year after year? How does that work?
Yes, great question. And yeah, we actually always will allow choice with all of our solutions. So we're not going to mandate that you have to use our solution just because you've partnered with us. Now, we are the easy button, and we've priced it at such a rate that it usually deters people for the most part, unless like their uncle is an insurance agent or their dad or their spouse or whatever. They'll usually just click the easy button, Amazon, just get whatever's getting me in this apartment faster, let me in. And so they'll usually go with us. However, to your question, if somebody brings their own policy, this is the beauty of it, because this is one of those things that differentiates us. In commoditized markets, my old logistics professor used to say, you have to either be the cheapest guys or you have to be highly specialized. Like we've all probably heard that at some point. And so I actually think with Foxen, we're able to do both. We're actually able to be a low cost leader and be incredibly different, because for those people who bring those third party policies, most of the site staff are used to having to go over those because it's not the built in solution. We validate all of that for you. So they upload it to us. You're gonna get instant feedback on what's wrong, what's needing to be fixed,
Mm.
what's needing to be corrected. And so we take complete ownership of that. So kind of one of the taglines that the new guys all learn when we onboard here is 100% compliance guaranteed. When you partner with Foxen, you can literally empty the recycle bin in your mind when it comes to insurance compliance. You never have to think about it again as long as you're with us.
Okay, so let's go down that little bit of a rabbit hole. I've got lemonade. I want to use my lemonade because it's $4 or $5 a month. But the
Oh, lemonade.
policy only allows, I don't know, 2000 coverage. And then, how does that, it's a loss. So do you get involved with that lemonade and say, okay, the way this is going to work is I will take your lemonade, but it doesn't have coverage that we need from a lender standpoint. Everybody has to have it. I don't know how you do that, but at the end of the day, that lemonade doesn't look so good, and come on board with us. Walk me
Yep.
through that.
And so going back to each owner operator is a unique little snowflake. Everybody does their own way. They do their own things their own way. And some of our property managers are like, "Hey, listen, we're not accepting that." Like the end. We think
Mhm.
that's a Ponzi scheme waiting to be on the news in a year. However, that's not our official position. We will take it if it satisfies the requirements of the lease. At the end of the day, the lease requirement in place at your property is all we're concerned with. So if you're class C, class D, class B, even class A, and you require $100,000 policy per resident, as long as it matches that criteria, even if we don't like it, we're going to accept that policy and we're going to enforce that policy.
So once again, you guys, it's off of the plate of my staff.
Correct.
I mean, that
Exactly.
is amazing because not only are you implementing it, you're also going after it after the first year. How many
Exactly.
times have we lost, just like your example, where my staff doesn't come in and say, hey, you need to renew this or show me how you renewed it. And now your staff has failed you as the operator. So you guys are taking it from start to obviously end when they move out.
Absolutely. And one of the things I'll share with everybody on this call as well, as NOI is something that we're concerned with, it's something that's getting more and more difficult in this environment. You read, publications by Jay Parsons and Carl Whitaker, and they're talking constantly about rents cooling, oversupply in the markets. And some people are feeling it a little bit worse than others. I'm not an economist. But if we can take what you're already doing and make you 2, 3, 8, 13 extra dollars per unit per month, that's really simple and incremental marginal growth that we can provide to you that you can then report back to your investors because it shows you put the old thinking cap on and where everybody else is like, we can't raise rents, we can't raise rents. You're going, no, no, no. Actually, I have a plan B and a plan C. It's
Mm.
called Foxen. We're going to implement it. It costs us nothing to implement it. It's going to make you X amount. And when we sell this property in a year or two or whenever, the asset value based on the cap rate that this program's going to put into it is going to blow your mind. You'll be so happy you'll put us on your Christmas cards. I'm just saying.
Wow, that is a really powerful statement. So you're saying not only affordable housing, but all the way up to Class A is where you're seeing this application being useful.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny because you really are starting to see asset managers, and owners dig into the nitty-gritty to see, okay, where else can we find a dollar? Where else can
Yeah.
we find 50 cents? Where can we cut a cost? Always cutting costs, things like that. Typically your technology, for the folks on the call who own and operate, typically your tech stack tends to be one of your highest expense items. And so it's nice to have a way to come in and offset some of those costs with something like this.
So this is only for a resident that may have had a loss, a fire, a water. It's not for loss of rent. Is that correct?
Well, it's funny you say that because this year we actually just launched a new, it's called Advantage. So we have
Okay.
an extended perils where loss of income, loss of rental income, bed bugs, biohazard, which I hate to be dark on the call, but we've all had people pass away in units. Yeah, Angel, I see you shaking your head. I mean, it's unfortunate, it's messy, and it's not cheap, if we're just being practical. And it's sad. It's sad too. I mean, let's not
Yeah, and
remove
I
the
know you
human
like to be
element.
happy and fun. That's not really happy and
Yeah.
fun, but
No,
it
it's
is.
not.
It's part of the whole thing. So this advantage is a additional coverage then?
Correct, correct. Because it's not
Okay.
something that everybody's going to have, a laser beam focus on. So we got to have our normal. Think of it like Chick-fil-A. We got our Chick-fil-A number one. But let's say and I need to cut calories. We can get you the grilled sandwich. We have a little alternative for you here. Or maybe you don't want fries. You can get the fruit cup. That's kind of the way we're approaching this,
Ah,
to give you guys some options to go, okay, we care about this a lot, and maybe something recently happened. You go, well, actually, I really do need these three coverages. That's key to me right now. Or I have an investor who's on my back because his last property went underwater because of XYZ. We want to be able to be easy to work with and provide those solutions for you guys.
fantastic. What is the typical turnaround on payouts on those claims?
Yeah, because we're an in-house claims department, which is a differentiator for us as well. I mean, I've seen anywhere from 45 days to 60 days in that range. And of course, the big, university caveat that every professor always says is it depends. It always depends. Because sometimes the fire marshal takes his dear sweet time and then he's got to go to Cabo for a week and then he comes back and he'll fill his report out later. Meanwhile, we're all on this call chewing our nails and stressing out, waiting for those reports to come in. So
That did happen on our property. So funny you should mention that.
I had no idea, I
Yeah, I
promise.
know you didn't, but okay. So tell me, you talk about rev share.
Yeah,
Is that based on the size? Is it based on, how many are in compliance? How many are you bringing on board? So how does that work?
great point. Great question, rather. So Foxen is a mutually assured success company. We only make money when you make money. So what we do is we do a revenue share per unit per month. We bill that 30 days in arrears. So we'll go back and look, okay, who was actually on the Foxen policy versus who had their Lemonade or Allstate or State Farm or whatever you name Nationwide, you name it. And then that's when the revenue share comes in. So you're able to start getting that cash flow relatively quick. I mean, we're a 60-day on average launch from signature of contract to let's hit it. We've done it faster. Our biggest concern is resident experience, which is why we don't want to push it too much faster. Because when you try to get your residents to do something in 30 days, it can be stressful and it can create a really bad taste in someone's mouth. And so we kind of try to walk that tightrope a little bit. But yeah, that's how the revenue share works.
Okay. And again, it'll depend on how much is being uh how many are covered, right? How many are covered? How many units are covered? So you're going to
Absolutely.
make more money if you're on a class A and more units, or
Well,
not necessarily.
fun fact, not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily because we priced it at such a way that makes it like I keep calling it the easy button. I think our pricing is what's really beneficial because at $15 per unit per month, you don't have a lot of people going out trying to waste 2-3 hours of their lives Googling insurance for their apartments. They'll go,
Mm-hmm.
that's literally, I'm gonna use Chick-fil-A again. That's a Chick-fil-A with like a value sized macaroni and cheese. I'm sorry, guys. My kids love Chick-fil-A, so I go there all the time.
That's for one
uh,
dinner for
right. Oh
one
my,
person.
one person. Yeah, I know. And so, one of the biggest things that we talk about with people, and this is kind of the elephant in the room, is like, well, Aaron, everybody has a built-in solution to this nowadays. Everybody, Yardi has their solution, Appfolio has their
Ah,
solution, Entrada
yep.
has their solution built in. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, this should not be the first time you're hearing about this. However, with all big software platforms, what happens is they have it, but they don't invest in that technology. They don't push that aspect. And that's where being a mutually
Mm.
financial successful model being we only make money when you make money. Can you say that about the rest of your vendors? Can you say that about the rest of your partners? And if so, how different would your, business look if all of your partners had that same mentality? And so that means we're reinvesting in the technology. You guys all know this. Residents get smarter, they get trickier, maybe they get a little shadier, you know? And so we have to stay on top of that with how we update and adapt our technology.
So just to confirm, it's for renter's insurance. And if the tenant damages the property or skips, the owner or operator will be reimbursed.
Yes, but I want to just clarify it technically is not renter's insurance. I don't want to put everybody to bed early on the call. It's not an HO4 policy. It's a TLL policy. It's a tenant
Oh.
legal liability policy. So we would call it a property damage liability waiver program. It is not the same as an HO4 renter's insurance policy.
Oh. If you're in the room, how many of you want to understand the difference that you might not know? Aha. We have some hands raised, Aaron.
Love it. And I got some great questions here in the chat too. So let's talk about that. So different states, and I am not we have an entire team of insurance experts that we employ. So I'm not going to go into details and make stuff up because salespeople are the worst. They will do that. I'm not going to do that. And so different states have different requirements and different, I will say, appetites when it comes to what a TLL program can cover. So, Angel, you hit the nail on the head. The TLL program is covering the asset. It's covering the landlord from any tenant negligent damage. So, when it comes to fire, flood, smoke, explosion, the four main perils out there, uh, that is what a TLL program is covering. An HO4 policy is going to cover the contents of that renter's stuff. The contents is what I'd say. Now, in certain states, Foxen has content coverage with the TLL policy as well as displacement, so we can actually put them in a house, or a hotel for a time. But it varies state by state.
So does it cover other damage caused by the tenant? What other damage would you be thinking, Angel? We've got fire. How about guns? What
Shooting. Yep.
shooting?
So
Angel, what other things are you
yeah, she
thinking?
said shooting.
Oh, shooting. Okay, got it. You're on mute.
No, Rhea was the one that asked about other damage.
Oh, sorry.
But I was thinking shooting is like, well,
I mean, it happens.
Well, I
Yeah.
was actually thinking, because I have sadly a light tech property, and our tenants love to literally trash the place as they're walking out the door. So,
Amazing.
cabinets ripped off the walls. I mean,
Oh,
serious.
geez.
So it's not like we can't turn the units. We have to go in and refix everything.
Yeah.
It's always thousands of
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah, you're flipping the unit literally every time.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I'll use this analogy that I've used in the past. It's similar to your car, right? You have to change your oil, you have to change your tires, you got to flush the transmission fluid. Not everything that needs to be done is going to be covered by insurance, or your insurance would be astronomical.
Understood.
And so with certain things like that, with people just trashing the place, you can't. I'm not going to say you can't call it. Typically, that's not going to fall under tenant negligent because it wasn't an accident, and that tends to be the part of it that's almost impossible to prove. You're like, I slipped and I ripped the cabinet off. Like, I don't know if you could do that. Maybe some people could. I'm not that big. I'm only like 5'8". So, in those cases, you're always going to have your general, property insurance for, your roofs when it hails, the AC units that go out, things like that. So, but what it does do is cover a lot of very common shenanigans. I think 75% or something like that of the damage that we end up covering is typically fires.
Yeah.
Somebody leaves the burner on, somebody leaves the oven on, uses the oven as a storage unit instead of an actual oven. It gets bumped, and then, okay, I mean, we've all done it. We've all put something in there that we shouldn't have. I mean,
Sure.
I haven't, but y'all probably have.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We're different over here. Okay, so that makes it very clear. We had guns in our apartments. We didn't want them in there. And then they had a fire. We had a fire. They left the heater on, and then the bullets got damaged or something like this. So there's a lot of questions that go on. And here's the thing: in 2 weeks, you guys, we will have a public adjuster that we can have a conversation about how to deal with these above and crazy things above what Aaron's company, Foxen, will cover. So there's always that, well, what if, and the gray area. And so I think, for all intents purposes, it covers you, and it's going to be, it depends, right? So don't need to dig too much further into that. But I do want to cover the pet policy, because my own experience with pets coming into the properties is in California. We all know how kind of crazy Reyes said it this earlier. They can push the limit. And so my own experience is emotional support animals. Anybody know about emotional support animals. Well,
Give me an E. E.
in California, you have to take them. Okay, you can't discriminate. Oh, yes, I need this. Here's my letter from my therapist. Well, the therapist is on the online. So you call them and you say, "Hey, I'm checking in." And they say, "Well, of course they need it. Why wouldn't they need it if they were calling me and I approved it? Of course they need it." It's
Hmm.
totally bogus crap. All right. So, Aaron, tell us about Foxen. How do you manage the pet policies?
You have just summed up what I think every owner operator in the last decade since COVID has been feeling. The emotional support iguanas, the emotional support that's a true story. Somebody
Donkeys.
tried to do it once. Now in Texas, a miniature horse can count as an ES.
Yes.
Fun fact. So we're cool like that. You shouldn't. I don't think you should do that personally. I couldn't imagine that. Anyhow, sorry. So
Chickens.
yeah, chicken. No, I don't think I haven't heard of a chicken. Maybe y'all
Yeah.
have on this call, but there's some weird ones out there. So yeah, so in the realm of compliance, one of the biggest things we do an owner operator summit every year where we kind of pull the council of people from different regions of the United States and we go, "Hey, what are y'all hearing out there? What should we be putting development dollars into for the next solution? What would make your life easier?" And overwhelmingly, it was ESA and pet policy management. And so what Foxen did is we came up with Pet Clear. We're already absolutely in the compliance realm. We're already in, seamlessly in your property management system. So why not help with this as well? And so, similar to the previous program, we go in and we put guardrails on the property management. That's the first thing we do with the solution. And that's not a bad thing because if you've ever gone bowling and you stink, bumpers are like the greatest things ever. They help you have a really good time and the ball hits the sides and it goes, you get a strike, right? And so, with a lot of folks, they just don't have a pet policy that they really can truly say that they enforce. And so what we did is we went and said, "Hey, okay, what if not only we can go in and we can create a way for your site teams to collect pet information, collect vaccines, collect all the photos of these different animals, and then we actually create a revenue share program where every pet application that comes through, you guys are actually going to make a portion of money on that." And so it's not tied back to the rent roll because they may apply and they may not decide to move in for some reason, but you can still cash in on that. And we're going to go through, and I can't go in and give you guys the secret sauce of exactly how we do it, but through a variety of manual, and you're hearing the buzzword AI, we've made it. How many minutes are we into this right now?
46 minutes.
We made it 46 minutes without anyone saying AI, and I ruined it. Sorry, guys.
Dang it.
But yeah, so between AI, which is an amazing tool that we can go in and use to do a lot of scrubbing that would be darn near impossible to do in the speed we're able to do it with, we're then able to come back to you, the operator and owner, and go, "Hey, here are the 3 red flags that you told me during implementation. You always want to be alerted at the sites if you see this, this, or this." So we'll go in and go, boom, boom, boom. Here's what we found. You take it. You make the decision. We're not on site. We don't know Miss Johnson from Mr. Brown. So you make that call because the site teams may be struggling with occupancy and may have been told, "You better let everybody in." And so that's a conversation they can have and go, "Well, you said to let everybody in, but we're getting these flags on these types of pets. Is this really what we want to do?" So we're empowering you guys to have those conversations, or your site teams to have those conversations in a more educated way. Because when you have the data, it tells a story. So that's a little bit about the Pet Clear product. I know I might have rambled a bit. I do that.
So on per application, there is a fee to do this.
Correct.
Tell us what that cost is.
So typically right around $30. Now, this is something that's always a gray area. We can increase it, we can decrease it if we need to. We'll work with you on what you want to do there. But at the end of the day, we're going to revenue share $6 per pet application back to you. So you're not going to go buy a private jet with the amount of revenue share, unless you have like 900 pets per unit.
But it's
But
changing the NOI outside of rent, right? Other income.
absolutely. And then really it's a harder cost to quantify sometimes, but when you are able to prove or prevent or even say, hey, this is a wonderful pet, unfortunately it is actually not an ESA, and they go, yeah, but I really want to live here. You're like, well, then the pet rent is X amount, and so let's say it's $10 a month. Well, that's $120 in 1 year that you were previously not going to get. Now you multiply that times, I believe it's something like 65, maybe 75% of residents have pets now. That's a significant amount of money that you're leaving on the table year after year after year. And so it's an easy way for you to differentiate for your investors to show that you're thinking outside of the box and using the old noodle to squeeze as much blood out of the turnip as you can.
Great solutions. All right. Is there any other products that we haven't spoken about? We've got the insurance, we've got the advantage, which helps out on those other pieces.
Mm-hmm.
We have the pet clear. Is there any other
Yes.
products?
Well, I do get pretty fired up about this one. And so
Okay.
what you saw was like the dull bored Aaron for the last 45 minutes. This is where I let loose and listen, marketing's going to kill me. I get my cool Foxen hat on and I go to town. Yeah, I did the upside down thing that Post Malone does. I thought it
Oh,
was
there you
cool.
go.
Yeah. Not marketing approved. That's why they'll kill me. Anyways, we have a final solution. It's called rentistry. So like dentistry, but rentistry. And what it does, and I really am passionate about this, all joking aside, it's a rent reporting solution. Your residents don't have their rent, which is typically their highest expense. They don't have that reported to the three main credit bureaus on a monthly basis. And so in Class D, Class C, Class B, you name it, these residents, they may be rebuilding their life. They may have had some hard times in the past. And now, guess what? They have the ability to put their rent to work, building their credit. And it's only $8 a month. It's so cheap and it's life changing. It really is, because so much of what we do as a society is credit based. What schools you can afford to go to, the loans for a car, if you want to buy a house one day. I mean, it's tied to credit. And so you're really offering a unique amenity. Like, okay, hardwood floors, cool. I love hardwood floors too. Stainless steel appliances, also great. Pickleball courts, I love pickleball, but it's not going to change my life. It's not going to help me put my kid through college in the future. And so we rev share $3 of that per unit per month back to the property. Everything we do is financially, what did I call it? Mutually assured financial success. And so this has been a, a game changer over the last
Sure.
year, because right now, and I'm sorry to go on a tear. I told you I get fired up about it, but like people aren't able to raise their rents and they want their renters to stay, but because there's so much supply, well, they can go across the street and get a 12-week concession and they'll never look back. However, if we can make it stickier to live here, because we're offering something really cool and unique for you to live here,
Wow.
you might stay. And guess what that does to those turn costs on that LIHTC, right? You're not having to remodel that unit every year. And that's a massive savings to you. And you go back to your investors again and go, hey, I'm different. I'm thinking outside the box. We're using this. We're getting NOI. And guess what, guys? We have like a 65% take rate, even in Class C and D on this solution.
On just this rentistry.
Rentistry. And the reason we have such high adoption is in the software world. I'm going to let you behind the curtains a little. I wish I had a curtain so I could do this. In the software world, customer service is basically expected to be non-existent. You can submit a ticket, you'll hear back in a week maybe, and you'll probably have the same issue in a month. Because we come from property management, because we're born from it, we know exactly what your residents, your site teams, your C-suites, whatever, we know what you guys need. So we have a resident support team that speaks English and Spanish that answers the phone on average within 90 seconds. Game changer. So when the resident goes, "What is this $8 charge for rent history? I forgot about this." You can say, "Hey, call Foxen," and they answer, and it will answer in English or Spanish. We get to explain what that is, not sell. They're not salespeople. They're customers. They're customer support. Once they explain what it is and the difference it can make in their lives, the take rate's off the charts. Real
Is that a
person.
real person or is that AI?
Yep, real human beings in the great state
Yeah.
of Ohio, Columbus. Some people say Columbus is the best part of Ohio. I think it's Cincinnati. I'm just going to say that.
Well, if you're a Buckeyes fan, then maybe you think it is, but I
Oh,
don't
they
know.
all are.
Yeah, I
They
know.
all are.
So,
So
how many Class C residents are actually using this credit building program? Do you have a sense of that?
I would put it, I'd be very confident to say between 50 and 60%.
Okay. I
Yes,
know
ma'am.
some people, some demographics want to pay with cash. That obviously would not be helpful for those residents or that landlord, but having those conversations, helping them build it would
Mhm.
be really, really super helpful. Wow.
It
That
it
is a game
is
changer.
it's massive, and it really it makes you feel like you're doing something good too.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, you're
Right. And
offering
having fun
something. You're having fun. You're
and
being
having,
good.
yeah, that is amazing. I
Yeah,
mean,
so big fan.
theoretically, you could probably make off of these three products $10, $12 in rev share per unit per month.
Well, keep in mind with the pet clear, that's an annual. You're not going to get that
Okay,
$6 per
I
month.
wasn't sure if that's how that is. Okay,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, when
So,
we
but you're
are,
talking $8, $9.
yeah, and you have a 400 unit portfolio. I mean, this could be super helpful to your NOI. And something that you can take back to your investors and say, I have a solution for this. Let's forget about all of this trying to dig in more money for rent. This comes off the bottom line. It's amazing. What kind of load will it add to the workload of our on-site office and maintenance staff?
See, and this is one of my favorite questions. We literally take this work off of them.
Mm-hmm.
They no longer have to be insurance experts or credit building experts or pet policy experts because we answer the phone at a resident level. They can go, Miss Johnson comes in. Hey, I got a question about this. Did you call Foxen? No. Go call Foxen. If you can't get an answer, then come back and see me. 99% of the time, you've just taught that person how to fish instead of giving them a fish. They're not going to come back and ask that question.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm thinking about customer service, I'd say, hey, let's get them on the phone. All
Or
right. And
that, right.
let's walk them through. And so then it doesn't seem like you're pushing them off to deal with something because they might not do that. They might
Yeah.
just get frustrated. So I always recommend having your on-site staff get involved, having a phone call. Could you do that at the time of leasing? They say, hey, we need, you have to have insurance. We could at that point have the staff, we could call Foxen and the Foxen could go uh, on speakerphone, right? And say, okay, this is going to cost you $15. And then you've signed up right there, right?
It's completely easy to do that. Yeah. And
Okay.
I see Elise AI in there, and we love Elise AI, by the way. Big
Yeah.
fans of Elise AI. No, we could do that. It's an addendum in your lease. So your leasing agents are going to be trained as part of the onboarding process to walk them through that.
Hmm.
Most folks are requiring insurance for the most part right now. It's few and far between that a site does not require insurance. So it's usually just a conversation of like, hey, Remember all those things you used to do to check for compliance and then follow up on non-compliance and then email them 10 times and then go knock on their door, then put a note on their door and then charge them a late fee? You don't have to do any of that anymore. Foxen's going to handle all that. And most site people
Amazing.
that I've met with go, "Where have you been my whole life?"
It is truly remarkable. What a great solution, I got to tell you. All right, so that's awesome. I love it. No upfront costs, right? No upfront
Correct.
costs,
Nope.
no startup costs.
None.
So rev share, and it's off of your plate, and you're making money for your NOI. I mean,
Reverse trick or treating.
amazing, really amazing. All right, is there anything else that we didn't cover that we need to know about Foxen? What you're working on that might seem spectacular above and beyond what other groups are doing similar to your company?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We'll wrap it up with that. There's a lot of solutions out there that do similar to what we do. We're not the only ones in this world. But I will tell you, if you meet with us and if you see what we can do, we will prove to you through our service, which I think is the biggest differentiator in this market right now. Our service is bar none what anybody else can provide right now. I mean, when we tell owners and operators that we actually pick up the phone and that we answer in Spanish and in English, depending on which one you prefer, that's a game changer for a lot of people. And
I
so,
do have a question on that. Let's say there are other companies like yours whereby the person has decided or the operators decided, hey, I'm going a different route. That person is covered for the rest of their lease with your product. How do you handle that?
yeah, that unfortunately does happen. Or like when we
Yeah.
take over an existing program, there are
Yeah,
different,
good
it really
question.
depends on how the lease is written.
Okay.
And so there is some nuance. So what we usually will do is we're going to take a look at your lease addendum when it comes to that. And then, yep, foxen.com. Thank you, Angel. We're going to look at the lease addendum. We're going to look at your contract and basically make sure, because we also employ a team of, legal experts to make sure that we're not breaking, any rules when it comes to when we start. So with most programs, especially if there's an existing program in place, we can do a quick start, meaning, hey, you put in your notice on, May 31st, May 31st. There's 31 days in May, right?
Yes.
And then, bye, Denisha. I hope you cook dinner well. Um, and then we can just start right then. Okay. And coverage transfers over,
Okay.
vice versa. Now,
Sure.
sometimes if you don't have a program, we typically can't legally go in and just, hey, in the middle of your lease, you have to sign up for Foxa. That doesn't go well. So we have to wait till, renewal or a new lease comes in to implement the program then.
Okay. Okay. These are great, great things. All right. So if somebody is interested in knowing more about you, I mean, nothing private, of course, we wouldn't do that, but I'm just talking about knowing more about you and your company. How would we do that? And since we do this out to the internet, make sure it's something that you want people to know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, no, it's LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, which I think a lot of you folks probably are. It's a great place to network. Find me on LinkedIn, Aaron Power, my name. You'll see my big goofy head, and I'll gladly add you and become a friend. I am super involved in the apartment associations up here in Texas as well. That's right, Angel. We are. I thought I recognized you.
Angels
Um,
connected to
Heck yeah.
everybody.
I love that. We'll be at NAA in New Orleans if y'all are planning on hitting up NAA this year. So stop by the booth, say hello, tell them you met me. I annoy everybody. So they go, Aaron, oh my gosh, So
He's always wanting to have fun.
it's
Aaron
true.
just wants to have fun.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That was written for me. I didn't know that.
Okay, so here's the thing. You have somebody reach out to you on LinkedIn, and then they Do you really like it that way? Do you really like when people say, "Oh, I want to connect with you," and then you have to wait for you to accept them, and then, you have to make sure, "Oh, what are we talking about?" Is there like an email that might be more helpful for somebody who wants
Yes.
to know more about Foxen?
For sure. I mean, if you go to foxen.com, that's probably
Okay.
the easiest way. Foxen.com it's a really succinct website. Marketing has crushed
Okay.
it. You can go on there, you can request more information. The good news about that is we're all regional. So, like, I'm over the Texas
Mm,
Midwest area. We've got great reps on the West Coast, great reps on the East Coast. So,
okay.
if you go through the Foxen website, they're going to naturally already hook you up with the person that's in your backyard. Because there
Okay.
are laws in California that are not applicable to Florida, and Florida to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma to Texas. So it's kind of nice to have the people who are, somewhat subject
That's
matter experts in
uh,
those. And it's somebody you might actually go see, at the Whole Foods, or what's that,
bump
Publix.
into.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a regional
Yeah,
regional
there you
grocery
go.
store.
What is it? HEB for you
H.
down
Oh,
there.
we
There you
love
go.
love HEB.
Nobody complains about HEB. So,
Oh,
all
don't be
right. Well,
sad.
Aaron, this has been excellent. I think what I love about it is it's something to help the NOI that it seems so simple.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So, guys, I highly recommend get on the phone with Foxen, with Aaron, with any of the other providers with this information and see how it could fit in your properties. By the way, Aaron, is it one and done, or do you have to have a certain amount of units that qualify for your services?
Great question. So there is typically a unit minimum across the entire portfolio. However, there's some gray area when it comes to growth plan. So whereas we might say 500 units is kind of our base level for the most part. If someone's like, "Hey, I have 250, but I actually have these three acquisitions in works," it's a
We're
case by
okay
case
with that.
basis.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, because
So
we all grow.
yeah. So just reach out to them, have a conversation. You got to get to know your partner. So if it's not today, have a conversation today so you can have a roadmap as to where you're going in the future. Maybe it's not today, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe next week, right? So have a
Absolutely.
have a good conversation, learn about it, how we can implement this type of NOI to your bottom line. So anyway, thank you, Aaron. I so appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you've been busy traveling and so forth. But it's great to spend some time understanding your product, what you're working on, and how you're helping a lot of operators in the multifamily.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. I appreciate you having me on, and it's nice to meet all of you on this call and see all your faces. I can't wait to hopefully run into you at an event in the future and become even better LinkedIn friends. And so,
There you
if
go.
if there's anything you guys need or questions that we didn't get to today, feel free to hit me up, apower@foxen.com. I might not be in your backyard, but I am always happy to help. That is my favorite thing to do. So,
Well, that is wonderful. We so appreciate it. I'm putting that into the email right now into the chat. apower@foxen.com.